Hello, hello, welcome.
Hello.
It's lunchtime again. Hello, Jamie. Hey, Kai.
Hey,
Dan.
Dan and note takers.
I just realized my own note taker was in here. Hey, Eddie. Hey,
Hi, everyone. Happy Friday.
James. Let us know where you're from. We usually give it till about 3 past, guys. Hopefully that's cool.
Cairns. Probably nice and warm for you up there.
Bangalow. I actually have no idea where
Anglo.
that is. Yeah. Is that New South Wales, Queensland? Where is that, Jamie? If you don't mind. Sounds Victoria, maybe. It's
Oh,
32.
32 degrees.
Yeah. I wonder what it was like. Kai, did you get the heat wave where we had like 42 degrees down here and I'm in like East Coast, South Coast, Wollongong way, 42, 43.
And hi, everyone else jumping in. Got Erica, Capel. Yeah, let us know in the chat where you're from. Oh, 90% humidity. I would struggle with that.
Hey,
Melbourne.
Erica. Hey, Kapil. Kapil B. West Melbourne.
Where's Melbourne?
Ah, two from Melbourne. I know that the heat wave hit Melbourne last week. I was hearing that it was like in the 40s. But then the next
Mm.
day, I think I was telling you, the next day, 43, there you
Oh,
go.
46.
The next
Yeah.
day, it just dropped to like 20 something. It was weird.
hmm
Yeah.
Well, here in New Zealand, we got to 32. That was hot. It's about as hot as
Yeah,
it got
yeah.
for
Well, I
us.
mean, it's definitely hot for Christchurch, right?
It's
Like,
hot for Christchurch, yeah. Yeah, it's about 16 degrees here today. So
you
most
guys
of
are
you would
going outside
freeze.
your houses when it's 32, exploding in flames.
Pretty much.
Yeah. Nice. Maybe one more minute. Hey, Erica. Ballarat. That's funny. Also, there's nothing wrong with Ballarat. Come on, man. I actually have no idea where Ballarat is. I'm thinking it's like Bendigo Way or something like that. I can't remember. Is it that way? Yeah. You're being nice, I think, but I sort of feel like it's out that way somewhere. Cool. Well, 4 minutes past. Welcome to everybody that has made the effort to turn up live. We really appreciate it, of course. South of Bendigo, there we go. Um, we try not to bore you to death. That's why we make it around lunchtime. So if you want to sit back and relax, feel free to do so. If you're more of an engaging type person and you want to raise your hand, come on the microphone and have a chat. Or whilst I'm sort of droning on my slides, if you've got a question, please get all your questions into Emily. She's going to moderate all those questions and we will go to questions as much as possible. And we want it to be engaging, right? We want to make sure that if you showed up live, that there's something in it for you. So we're sort of trying to be super value driven. We want to make sure that if you came to get some questions answered, that we'll do our very best to answer those questions. So without further ado, we're going to jump in. I'm going to start sharing my screen and let's go. So let's just do this and let's get my slideshow going. Alrighty. So the purpose of this webinar is really around the awareness of a platform called GoHighLevel, often referred to, probably more often referred to as GoHighLevel. Probably to the point where they probably need to change their branding at some point to just be GoHighLevel. I know they have shirts now where they put the Go on it as like their merch, which is pretty funny. But it is, GoHighLevel, high level, doesn't really matter how you refer to it. We want to bring some awareness around like, who is the company? What is the opportunity? Who is the opportunity for? What are some myths? Maybe some fallacies that we can dispel? What are some actual truths and those types of things? And all that good stuff, right? So if you haven't got GoHighLevel, you can get a trial through that link on the QR code there. Emily might post one in the chat as well. If you're not ready, obviously you don't need to go and sign up. But that's the whole point of the trial, is that you can run pretty much back-to-back trials on different email addresses if you really sort of don't really know where to start or anything like that. So there's no kind of lock-in at all. You can trial it for... I think we've got a 30-day trial, but that link might be the 14-day trial, I think. But
yeah, I'll pop
it's
that
a 14-day trial. We do have some options there. And, if you've, sort of how to play with it, that there's a learning curve and things that you need to do and all that sort of stuff, and you think that that's not for you and you want someone to do all of that for you, where it's like a pre-configured just for your business. We have a white label, which means we have a version of High Level that you can just buy and subscribe to for less than $300 a month. It just starts at that. So, Emily,
in Australian dollars too,
Australian
not
dollars,
US.
yes.
So
yeah, Emily's going to put those links everywhere in the chat. And if you've got questions, just book in and have a sales call with us, and we can tell you whether or not we think which plan's right for you and all that good stuff as well. So yeah, what are we going to do today? So we're going to do a little segment called Mythbusters. This is kind of my favorite segment thing to do at the beginning of this. Emily is going to give 3 people on this lunch and learn lunch, right? Courtesy of Uber Eats. So if you filled out the survey, that's how you get on the wheel spin. So if you're here live and you filled out the survey and you were gracious enough to tell us a little bit more about yourself rather than your first name and your phone number, thank you for doing that. Emily's going to spin the wheel in about 4 slides time, probably about 10 to 15 minutes, somewhere around there. And we'll send you an Uber Eats voucher, $50. You can get a decent meal, hopefully, with $50 on Uber Eats on us, and you can sit back and relax and have lunch with us. There's also some merch giveaways as well towards the end if you want to stay on that long. Okay. So if you haven't already, scan the QR code, fill out the survey. And again, Emily will try to leave it open right up as long as possible to send the Uber Eats vouchers. All right. That's the same thing. Who are we? So my name is Ryan. With me, Emily Bryant, of course. Emily's over in Christchurch in New Zealand. I'm based in New South Wales in Wollongong. We run 2 companies. One's called Growthable, one's called Voxility. Growthable is an agency that plays, it's a support and technology company that plays with agencies, so digital agencies first, who only use High Level. And there's reasons that we do that. And it's mainly around the fact that High Level itself is a white labelable product. So you can put your own brand on it and then resell it to customers at a profit. We also have a company called Voxility, and there's a whole range of services that we do, from implementation services and those types of things. So I'm going to go in a little bit more detail about why Voxility is running these webinars. So we are paid. This is a sponsored activity that we are doing. High Level pay us to run promotional campaigns to try to get people into their ecosystem, specifically in Australia, New Zealand, and some Asian countries like Singapore and Southeast Asia as well. We're the only value-added reseller. So if someone tells you they're a reseller, they're lying. We are the only one for Australia and New Zealand. We've overseen thousands of agency installs, and we support probably 100,000 daily active users through the agencies we support through our support company, Growthable. But we have a whole bunch of services. So if you need to migrate from a legacy CRM, or you don't have a CRM and you want to get on spreadsheets, we can help you do that. We can, help deploy a business operating system. It doesn't always have to be focused on sales marketing. It can be more around the operational efficiencies. But we probably more focus on like customer acquisition systems, funnels, marketing, sales, and all of that good stuff. And you could be one person, solopreneur, and use our white label, or you could be thinking a little bit bigger and you want to get high level for yourself and you want to build that out, and we can help you do that. Or you could be at enterprise level, and sort of small to medium enterprise is what we're referring to, maybe $2 to $10 million in revenue. Maybe you've got 10 to 20 staff. That's a perfect fit as well for something like high level, multi-user system, infinite usage, that sort of stuff. And we love building out those projects as well. And we've done quite a few of them here in Australia and New Zealand. We also focus on AI. So, AI is kind of everywhere at the moment. In the context of sales and marketing, it's really great because it allows you to do way more with less, right? You don't have to have a lot of human beings doing a lot of the manual repetitive things that used to be required to sort of scale sales and marketing organizations. And we like to focus on providing that infrastructure and support for AI systems as well. So just to get a feel for everybody on this call, if you can put in the chat where you fit. Are you a business? Are you an agency? So, you're looking at high level from I want to have a piece of software that I can give, or I can resell my digital agency services to people through the software. You're a number 2. Or if you sort of maybe feel like you don't fall into either of that category, give us a 3. But we also like to think about, are you a multi-location business? I've got 3 shops and I have a parent company of those 3 shops. Are you a gym? Are you a gardener? Are you a fencer? And you've got multiple people running territories for you. And the reason that we ask that question is that high level is set up really, really well to handle multi-location and franchise businesses as well. So, how are we looking there in the chat if we've got a good feel for everybody today?
Yeah, it's a mix between 1 and 2.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And now a 2, now just a 1 from Kai.
Okay. Yeah. No worries.
Oh, and a multi-location. So yeah, we've got a mix today.
Cool. Well, the multi-location people will get a kick out of, hopefully I give you a cool little tidbits here that maybe you didn't know before. And of course, everybody else has tons of value for you here. We will talk probably more about just being a business rather than the digital agency stuff. We do heaps of stuff on the digital agency stuff through our other brand, Growthable. You can find us online just by searching Growthable. And so, yeah, we've done heaps of stuff in Australia. We've built out for real estate, not-for-profit organizations, even marketplaces like High Pages, buyer's agents. Real estate's such a good fit because they have high volume, lots of manual repetitive things, but also lots of locations as well. And then, trades, professional services businesses like flooring, fencing, gardens, driveways, pressure washing, window cleaning. I think we've done every example of business going out there. We've done nail salons, hairdressers, we've done all sorts of stuff. Okay, a couple of myths here. What high level is not. So this is a not, right? Just to clarify. It's not expensive. In fact, it's probably the cheapest kind of entry to market, full-blown marketing automation, CRM and sales system that you can get at the entry level of $97 a month. So you don't need to buy anything from Emily and I. You can go and sign up to high level, hopefully through our link so that you can work with us on getting up and running, right? Which is some of the bonuses you get. For $97 a month, which is like $150 Australian, right? With no GST because it's an export. That you can have infinite number of users, infinite number of contacts, whereas I think someone like HubSpot's charges you for how many contacts you put in the system, things like that. Then per module, same with per Salesforce,
user.
So per user or whatever, per seat. So there's no per seat cost. Add as many staff members in as you want, add as many users in as you want, have as many contacts in as you want, have as many pipeline stages as you want. I think Pipedrive probably has 3 pipelines or whatever. But we're not focused on comparing, right? But we're just saying if you are comparing, this is not the expensive one. This is the really, really competitive, affordable one. It's not just good for sending emails. It's good for doing so many things, right? That we could spend an entire day on the things that it does and still not even really scratch the surface. It should be seen more as a platform that has many, many features, and it's you taking a collection of those features to achieve your business outcomes. So really, it's just it's nice to get an understanding of what does it do out of the box, but what can I make it do, which is the real question, right? Which is, it's always like, what do you want it to do? The answer is probably yes, it does do that. And whether you can learn it to do it yourself through all the education out there, or you get advice from people like us or YouTube. There's tons of content on YouTube. The world is your oyster. So it does tons of stuff, not just sales and marketing, business process and automation, customer service, advocacy, reviews, reputation, ongoing, referral systems, coupons for brick and mortar stores, retailers, coffee shops. Like, there's all sorts of stuff that it does. The list is endless.
Mm-hmm. Oh, and gift cards as well.
Gift
That's an
cards,
awesome one. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Is it only good for the US? And I always say, if you asked this question 3 years ago, we might have been lying if we said no, right? But no, it's kind of like, they've done a lot of work, and Emily and I are sort of big brand advocates for Australia and New Zealand, right? That we're always trying to kind of like fly those flags to say like, hey, we need it to connect to zero. We need to be able to charge GST. We need to be able to do things in AUD. We need, all those things. And they've come a long way, and they've done a lot of those things. So it has a lot of native integrations into different systems. You don't need to integrate to Zapier to connect to other systems. There's a lot of native stuff. There's a lot of local currencies all baked in now. And so, with what used to be really sort of only suited to North America, there's, absolutely every opportunity now to get in and start working as an Australian business and have connections to Australian systems. Hard to learn? I don't think so. It's just a question of whether or not you want to learn, right? A lot of the digital agencies, so the number twos on this call, they're the skilled marketing services people that probably want to get their hands on all this stuff so that they can deliver more sort of software-led, technology-led products and services rather than something that's usually labor-intensive, manual, and repetitive. So they want to get in and learn it. But is it hard to learn? We don't think so, right? Do you need to know Zapier? Do you need to know automations and things like that? No, you don't. If you know your business well, you can apply the knowledge of your business quite easily to, how do I send an email marketing newsletter? How do I post on social media? How do I respond to people in conversations? All of that stuff is natural business process stuff, and it's very intuitive and easy to learn as far as we're concerned. The last one here is my favorite as well, MLM. I think they're all my favorite. It's not an MLM, right? It can seem like it is one, and there's reasons, right? People go on YouTube and they stand behind a Ferrari and they say, here's how I made $10,000 a day using HighLevel. And do you believe them? Probably not, right? And it's because of the belief that someone can sell you a magic wand, that it's going to solve all your problems and you can become a millionaire just by downloading some software, right? Is kind of, why this situation kind of ends up happening. And so again, like Emily and I kind of advocated for like, hey, could we put an adults table down in Australia so that we can speak to real business people to show them like, all that stuff that you see on social media about, I'm rich and this and that and the other, and here's my Ferrari because I downloaded HighLevel, is obviously a waste of time, a waste of most people's time. And let's show people like, here is a tool, here's what it can do for you, here's how much it costs. It's got a really good community of people behind it, and where 80% of the people are really quality entrepreneurs who want to help you out and usually exchange knowledge for free just because they love it. And the rest of it is noise, and we want to just, highlight that we know that noise exists, right? We absolutely know that. But we wouldn't be here today if it was truly an MLM, right? We don't make money off people believing that they're going to, pay us $27 for a course to do something and never get anywhere, right? Like, in fact, we try to do the opposite. Our company, Growthable, is only successful if the agencies using our products and services have a long-term roadmap of success. And the only way to do that is to ensure that success. So we're the anti sort of thesis of it being an MLM, that's for sure.
Mm-hmm.
What it is. So a couple of facts. It's the most used marketing automation software in the world. I think it used to be ClickFunnels in like terms of how much real estate was out there, being used with the code behind it was kind of powered by ClickFunnels. I think HubSpot was maybe a close second to ClickFunnels or whatever. Those rankings have changed. It's now HighLevel. And what is the business model? Why is it so cheap, right? Why don't they pay per user? This and that and the other. Well, there's plenty of reasons. One of the biggest reasons is their route to market, and they target the small to medium enterprise. The plumbers, the hairdressers are sort of level one. Then professional services organizations level two. Real estate, this and that and the other. And then maybe sort of the tier one of starting it into the bigger organizations, white collar, 10-person teams, 100 people staff, $50 million to $100 million revenue still very much qualifies for, being a high level customer, but they're not as common. So in order to get to that many customers, because when your product services kind of everyone in the world who has a business, you want to give it to the distributors, right? And the aggregators, and that's the digital agencies, right? And so they want volume, and the way they get volume is they make money off usage of the infrastructure. So they give it away for a really, really, really competitive price. But then if they get lots and lots of businesses using it and they get the title most used marketing automation software in the world, that's a lot of text messages. That's a lot of tokens being used in AI. That's a lot of phone calls being made. That's a lot of SMSs being sent back and forward, right? And they're getting like a 0.001 cent clip on all of that usage. And that's predominantly their business model.
Any questions or thoughts on that, by the way? Just put them in the chat because it's...
Yeah, any questions, just let us know. I'm just hearing lots of furniture starting to fall down. It's starting to get windy here. Let me know about any questions, Em. Extremely scalable and repeatable. So if you are a multi-location business or you plan or you have multiple entities, you probably do the same thing that you do. Like if I've got two brands like we do, right? The bulk of our go-to-market and process around how we acquire customers, responding to leads, following up with leads, sending them a proposal, having a sales meeting, all that stuff, and it obviously changes business to business, but all that stuff usually is fairly similar, right? And so we don't have to reinvent our software and our processes every single time we have a new entity or a new location or a new business. We can just literally clone one that we're already built, call it location B or brand B, and then just change the details of what we're doing, and we can do that at the literally the speed of copy and paste. If you think about it, if like I was a F45 franchise, and again, this is an organization that we've worked with, right, where it's like, okay, we've just sold 3 new locations. They can clone the most recent location that was, that's kind of been rolled out over, 12 to 18 months or something like that, and just go, they do it best, clone their system, and then roll that Parramatta one into, Sydney CBD or whatever, and they get Sydney CBD's system, and all they do is just change the users that access it and some of the names and details or whatever, and they just start up and running. It's just really, really cool. Did we get any questions?
No.
Oh, all right, cool. Last thing is it's very AI and API first, right? So, not really a closed wall of, nothingness. It's the APIs and things are really robust. So if you're sort of in the category of, you want to build integrations into different systems and things like that, this is, again, why High Level would rank really high on a choice that you evaluate, because you can connect to it so easily. I don't have to go and request a special key, permissions, privileges, read pages and pages of documentation. Like, it's extremely easy to connect to and work with. And there's AI everywhere in the system. So they're certainly not scared of, AI being another tool. But how do we use that tool in the context of the day-to-day things that we're already doing before the likes of ChatGPT and everything kind of hit the scene? And it's like, well, if I do social media posting now, it's like, well, just tell me what to post, right? Just give me the headlines, give me the description. Like, that's in there. Oh, you don't know the image that you want to use? Well, AI image generation, right? Oh, you don't know which copy to use in the email sequence? Generate that for me. And so it's weaved into the everyday functionality that you would otherwise do really, really cleverly and nicely, I think. A couple of tools that it uses natively here in Australia that we're aware of, and again, this is just a couple of examples. Square, if you sort of like, standard sort of point of sale, Square terminal, mostly on the retail e-com side of things. Even if you've got a market stall, you could use Square and High Level. ServiceMate Xero, so for trades and things, it's a very popular one. A lot of people use Xero, obviously, for bookkeeping and accounting. Jobber is kind of a new, maybe sort of more sort of modern version of ServiceMate, I believe. Okay, and another reason for the whole MLM thing, right, is that they don't have a sales team, right? They just have affiliates. They have people basically who anyone can be an affiliate, right? So anyone on this call is like, it's not for me, but like I like it. I want to tell other people about it, right? They will pay you a very generous commission on a monthly ongoing basis. Emily and I are affiliates, of course. That's why we're doing this call, right? We do get commissions for anybody that signs up under our links, but we add a whole bunch of value in exchange for you doing that. But because anybody can do this, it allows them to get greater distribution to the small to medium enterprise companies of the world than if they were trying to market direct. They basically have a marketing budget of, a tenth of, say Salesforce, because they don't have a sales team like that. And that's how they get to market, right? And so that's why you end up with the internet influencers who stand behind Ferraris and that sort of stuff, or in front of Ferraris, I should say. But with all, with every one of those, there's 20 legit people who actually know what they're doing, which is really, really cool as well. All right. I'll stop talking for a minute. Do we have any questions? I have a drink of water.
No, we don't. Everyone's quiet today.
Okay.
Getting near the end of the holiday. Well,
Yeah.
before Australia Day holiday period. Just one thing, don't forget to enter in the draw to win those Uber Eats vouchers. You just need to fill in that survey. It's no obligation or anything with that information you put in, but we've got lowish numbers on the call today because it is still kind of that mid-January holiday period. So the chances are pretty good.
Yeah.
So yeah, it only takes a couple of minutes to fill in.
Alrighty, I'm going to try and get this microphone here as I switch into demo mode. Okay, so let's do lead capture, right? So as a business person, I'm going to use a fictitious business through this process. To begin with, I'm just going to use a flooring business, epoxy flooring. I think it's a good example of like the structure of a lot of, small business owners, people that have their own company. Right, so where do I get leads from, right? So, first thing, of course, is like, all right, someone searches Google, I need this service. If I've got pests, pest control near me. If I need a new fence, install a fence near me, right? And of course, like, that visibility on something like Google then depends on like tons and tons of different factors in their algorithm. The example that we did just before we get on this webinar, it's like we just, chucked in fence installer and we see like the first one's got a spelling mistake and various other errors. But the first one that looks quality is the one you're going to click on. So the thing is, like, the important thing to remember is like the first one that looks like the thing that you're searching for is typically the one that people click on. So that's kind of gate number one that people have to get through. And then, of course, gate number two is if you hit a landing page because you've clicked on a link, then what happens, right? And so, without, say, something like a chat widget where someone's like, look, I've got the landing page. I know that I can fill the box out, but I've just got all these questions, right? Like I want a garage floor, but I don't know if it's suitable, if it qualifies as large enough, if there's any dangers. Do I have to be out of the house for 2 weeks? Do I have to get everything out of my garage for 3 weeks? What's that going to cost me? I just want to talk to the guy, right? And so, it's important to have something like a live chat / ask me anything widget on the webpage in addition to having the landing page. And of course, both the landing page here and this chat widget is a high-level powered thing. So not only could we help with the local presence of SEO by getting reviews, responding to reviews, both negative and positive, to get increased visibility, we can build the landing pages that are strong because they've got keyword density that's required, all that sort of stuff. And so this is how I'm going to take someone through a funnel, right? I'm going to have like 4 people that search for a fence or a floor installer near me. Then they come through here and they either fill out a form and say, I want a quote, or they connect via live chat and they're expecting to speak to someone right there and then, or they can leave their phone number and say, here's my question, get back to me, right? And that's 3 really good options. Of course, another option, which is probably even more common, which is just to have an Instagram page where they can just message via DM and say, okay, Woody, I saw that you do all these floors, saw the video of the before and after of the Sydney Tools warehouse, 2,000 square meters, thought it was insanely cool. I just have a garage that I want the same thing for. I'm going to message him, tell him that, and I expect a response. So we're already up to 4 channels of contact. the beauty of high level, of course, is that we'll come back to spin the wheel. The beauty of high level of that is that all of that can be pulled into one universal inbox, right, in our conversations area. And so all of these conversations that you're seeing on the left can be SMS, they can be WhatsApp, they can be Instagram DM, and so on and so on. Okay. So with that in mind, right, how do we then, get back to those people, right? And so, if I had, say, this, and I just need to get someone here, Shane, that's good. So Shane has emailed us. When I look at the channels that I can respond to Shane back in, because of the detail that I have on Shane, I now can do this via SMS, WhatsApp, email, or iMessage, right? So the blue bubbles instead of green, so it looks way more like it's sort of more personalized and that type of thing. It uses data rather than using SMS airtime from, say, Optus, Telstra, or whatever, and so it's more cost effective. Same with WhatsApp. But you have to have the information on the person in the first place, right? Which means you have to have some sort of conversation that you've struck up. Either you met them in person and you've scanned their business card and typed them into your contact details, or you put that chat widget on the website, right? And you've asked them to fill out the details, or you've had a conversation once they said, hey, I saw your Instagram video of the Sydney Tools Warehouse. I'm also interested. And you said, cool. Before we go any further, can I get your name, email, and phone number? And then, we can keep talking from this point forward. But the whole point is that no matter what the channel is, customer acquisition, lead acquisition, and engagement can all be done through a centralized one pane of glass. And I think that, I don't know of many tools, and there are tools, that do this and only do this, but this is one of, let's just say 100 things just in today's demonstration that this does. But the point that I make is that leads start as conversations, right? No matter what, right? They're either filling in a box, which turns into a conversation, or all the other examples that we went through. So maybe I just want to respond to this, and I can respond to this via email. So I've got a subject line and a message. Or maybe I want to send him an SMS, and I can just be like, hey, If I say the same thing over and over again, I could put a snippet. So I'm like, hey, right, so your car's ready for pickup. Let's just say I'm a diesel mechanic and I do heavy vehicle servicing for the council. They've brought in their 3 council cars today. Here it is, your car, make, model, which are variables, right? Because I've got that information stored against these people, is ready for pickup, sends a text message. I know that those people are going to receive the text message, and off we go. I could type this in manually, or I could use an automated snippet, or I could build a visual board, right? And what we call the opportunities board, or you call it a deal board, and you can change the language and vernacular anytime you want. And we can build these automations that sit behind it to say, okay, well, if I move, say, this guy from new lead to contacted, stuff happens, right? And you could say, well, what is the stuff? And you say, well, if I move him from there to there, I'm going to send an SMS saying your car's ready for pickup, because then I would change that to car's ready for pickup. And then in my shop, in my garage, where all the mechanics are walking around, I would just have some monitors with these boards which show the cars that are ready for servicing, currently on the hoists, being done basically, and the ones that are, we've told the customer that they're ready for pickup. So that they know that when they arrive and they're sitting in the waiting room, we can do their point of sale, print the invoice or email the invoice, off they go, drive away. And this is, again, a real example that we've done with heavy vehicle servicing here in Australia. It was a Victorian company. And so they just have like 2 monitors, 27-inch kind of sort of fairly wide screen or whatever. And we build this to suit. And they just, these are non-technical computer users. These are guys that sit under cars all day, right? Fixing engines. But all they need to do is just say, yes, it's moving from that stage to that stage, right? And there's plenty of things that can happen automatically. Now, if it's a new lead and it's not like a car that's being ready for pickup, then, maybe it's Emily, right? So Emily's just booked an appointment with me. She's filled out a form. She's selected a time that she wants to speak to me. Great. Emily's going to say, I'm going to go look at this information. Load. I think my internet's just stopped. Let's just bring up Emily. I think you were this one. Yep. Okay, here's Emily. Here's a demo. So maybe I'm having a conversation with Emily, right? And I'm saying, okay, you've sent me a Facebook message, and you've said, I was interested in a new driveway, using the epoxy example again. And I've said, that's great. No worries. We can do that for you. Would you like me to send you a quote, right? So I'm literally saying via Facebook. And I'm going to, you haven't messaged me in 7 days. Emily, can you send the Facebook page a message from yours?
Yeah, sure.
And actually, what's going to happen is I will get onto the AI, right? And in fact, you know what? This all just kind of, because that happened, we're going to tie in the AI side of this in the next bit. So before we do that, we're at halfway time. Why don't we send some people some Uber Eats and thank people for filling out the survey, and let's do that side of things. So let me switch
Yeah,
now and
so
put onto you.
last chance. I'll just pop the survey link in there again.
No worries.
Only just takes a couple of minutes to fill that out. So we've got a few people that have filled it in so far. There's 3 vouchers that we give away, so it's a good chance to pop it in. And feel free to ask any other questions in the chat
Yeah, I
if you're
just
not
was looking
if you're
at
not filling in the survey.
Eddie. I think we should definitely speak. Booking a time to speak with us, we can help with that. I think we would blow your mind with some of the
hmm
possibilities. Yeah, so if you're open to it. Just eye on the time there, Em. So I think let's go. Only 3 surveys. Well, I mean,
It's pretty.
there's only
Oh,
3.
wow, we just got another one.
Oh,
Someone
we just
just
get
got
another one.
in.
Yeah.
I'll just give it I'll give it a little bit more time.
It's not lunchtime
We're
for everybody. You can use this anytime. By the way, you don't have to order it
you don't
now.
have to use it.
It's an Uber Eats voucher. We're not going to send you lunch. You can use it anytime.
Yes. Something that my children know far too much about now. Uber Eats. Just get it delivered, Mum.
Yeah, right. My kids too, actually.
Cool. 30 more seconds, and then I'm literally getting we have a wheel that we spin on the screen. Oh, someone else just came in. Lucky. Righty ho. Get that.
Everybody that already filled it out, they're like, "Come on, Emily, just do it."
I like to be fair. Okay. Yes, James. Yeah, it's very common with the kids these days. They just think things are just click of the finger, which they almost are, really, aren't they, to get here? Okay, so I think that's probably enough. People. Okay. If I see any other ones pop in, maybe you'll get in just in time. But I'll share my screen and we can literally do this live. So hopefully you can all see that.
Yay!
Right. So for the first one, Eddie.
Hooray!
Don't think you guys can hear this, but I've got clapping in my ears. I've got the applause.
Oh, you need to share the sound when you do
Yeah,
it.
I know. I
Yeah.
didn't do it in time. Kamal, congratulations. And then lucky last. And Kaboom.
Kamal's very excited.
Yeah, I can't see the chat when I'm. And I literally am about to go through and do that now. So you will,
Nice. One more.
James, one more. Come next week, James.
All right.
Cool. Thank you,
Thanks for
everyone.
that. No
It's always
worries.
fun.
Cool. So, um, I will resume the share. So did you send you sent an email? Yeah. Okay. Cool. You sent a message to the Facebook page, right? Okay, cool.
Yes.
So what I did prior to this webinar beginning is I created an AI agent, right? So there's some functionality down here on the left where I can build AI agents that perform different functions on different channels. And so she sent something saying, "Hey," and it's, "Hey, Emily," and now it's doing some data enrichment tasks, right? So it's saying double check this and that and the other. Now, Dan, I'm going to get you to do one from scratch where we don't know anything about you. So Dan, who works on our team, is like a little shadow on this call to help us do these types of things. Dan, if you can do that, just put a 1 in the chat, Dan, if you've done it. Let me know, please. Unless he's also gone to sleep.
It's trying to multitask.
Yeah. There he goes. I think I just got a message from him. So let's just go to our conversations. Not seeing it yet, Dan. But anyway, we'll just use Emily's example. So when she sends a message to our Facebook page, she gets, "Hey, Emily, just to double check, your name is Emily Bryant, right? Once you confirm, I can move on to the next step." Oh, here he is.
Oh, you've got it there.
I got
Yep.
it there. Okay, cool. So he's got some weird name that he uses to stalk people on Facebook because we had to set up a burner account for the example here. So just keep answering the questions there, Dan, for me, so I can see like that I'm not doing anything. We're not actually responding to these messages, and it's all automated right now. I know this is nothing new. There's tools out there that do this, ManyChat and whatever else, right? But like, I'm gonna get to the power of this being in a CRM like GoHighLevel in a moment. So Dan, just keep responding to those questions, please. So what he does is he's going to go through and he's going to provide it details, right? So right now, when someone comes through, right, we don't have any details about them, right? So we're asking like, what's the best email? And so, here in the CRM, like all we've got is first name, last name, and no email. But we obviously want to get the phone number and, various other bits of information so that we can store them in the CRM as a contact. Now, beyond that, we're going to want like, well, what is the thing that you want from us, right? Now, the example that I'm using here is like a flooring installation company. So there's probably got a project. So I've told my AI, I said like, well, ask them to tell you about the project, which is one of the first things that you would ask someone, because when you get to a certain size, unless you have a project that's worth doing, you don't want to do those projects, right? So if you're a carpenter and you install kitchens, but then you have little old housewife who calls up and just wants some WD-40 put on a squeaky cupboard, they're not going to say yes to those jobs, right? At some point, right? In order to scale beyond themselves. And so, they either have wasted their time, they're not coming out to do a measure and quote just to see the squeaky cupboard. And they're like, all you need is WD-40. Thanks very much. It's not even worth my time preparing the quote, right? Everybody enters into those growing pains at some point or another. So having a good qualification process that's semi-automated at least to deal with all the initial inquiries is a really good thing to do. And now we see that it's already asked Dan here, or Cold Corrigan. Funny name you got there, Dan. Thanks for confirming your phone number, Cold. Now I'd love to hear a bit about what you're working on, what's your project all about. So, this is not like really stripping away any human emotion. Most people need your details before they can go further. We're all used to that when we call Qantas or the government or whatever, right? Where they make you check everything 400,000 times before you even get to talk to them. And we've only asked a couple of questions before we start to get into conversationally converting them. And that's what I'm talking about here. So that was my next section, conversational AI and conversion, right? And so what we're doing here is my example that I've got up, which is my backup in case this doesn't work live. But it is working live, so that's great today. Let's go over here. So Dan, just tell us that you've got a new driveway or something like that so it fits the brief of like a new epoxy floor installer. He's gone with the AI one. But what I did was I said to the AI agent, I said, like, when I ask this question, the answer to that question is important to me, right? And I want to store it in the contact details. So when they say, what's your project about? It stored the detail and it gave me the action. So it updated the use case discussed that is, I'm trying to build a system with an AI that can speak to clients and book them in an appointment, right? Now, without me having to do any human intervention, I've asked that question, right? So this is like really good for like, well, before I can provide a quote, how many square meters, blah, blah, blah. And you would ask those questions. Those are the important questions that you need to spec out what you need in order to provide a quote in this example. I've also told it that, hey, if you get through the qualification questions, why not offer to have an appointment? So you could say like, hey, if they say they're doing a driveway, yes, we want to talk to them. We want to do measure and quote. That's worth our time. If they say they want a cupboard that's squeaky that wants to be replaced because you're in the carpenting game or whatever, you can say that's not worth my time. Tell them to find someone on the yellow pages that's more suited to that job. But if they are, we want to talk to them. So offer them a time, right? So it's saying like, would you like to go ahead and book an appointment to discuss further? If you have a preferred date and time, I can check the earliest available slots for you. So it's very conversational. It's not, here's a link, book a time. He's free on the 19th of January. Now that they've agreed to an appointment, I've told the AI, if they say yes to an appointment, go and create, right, in my flooring pipeline, a new lead, right? So over in the opportunity section, I've got my visual board of the deals that I'm working on, cold sitting here in the new lead section. If I go and have a look at that, I've got some information about him. It would have already, as you saw before, it already applied the email and the phone number that it extracted from the conversation. And now I can, continue to do things with this, right? So that is truly now, it's becoming agentic in its nature, right? It's not just having a chat. It's not just a chat bot, even though that's kind of how it began. But now it's actually performing tasks that would otherwise have to be done by a human being, like updating the CRM, update the sales pipeline, update the value of the sales pipeline, right? And all that good stuff. So let me just go back into where we were having that combo.
Yeah, and Kamal, it's in the AI agent itself, there's no workflow automation
No, there's no
for
workflow and
this.
automation at all. It's an AI agent. But this is not an educational sort of how to. So just, we do run separate sessions, but yeah. So there we go. He's booked the 2:30 appointment. I now have the appointment. It's now sent the confirmation and reminder. It's got the meeting link. I didn't do anything and we just did that on the call, right? And that like one of the most basic AI agents that you can create. Like I just went and crawled. It's not even the right website that we crawled, right? But you can index all the information by crawling your own website. It takes all your pricing and your open hours and all this sort of stuff. Give it a really basic prompt. You're friendly, you answer questions, but you ultimately want to book in an appointment. Now, it even went ahead and sent an estimate, and this actually wasn't meant to do that. I've mixed up something in here as I was doing my setup. But it sent an estimate for $25,000, right? Which is probably the average cost of these driveway installations / flooring installations, right? Now, to use that same example, Emily, you were like, oh, can I have a quote or something like that, right? And so if I'm doing this sort of manually, I'm having a conversation, I start to take over the chat. I'm like, this is a big deal, right? This isn't just a driveway. This is Sydney Tools warehouse, 2,000 square meters. This is probably worth 100 grand. I get in there and I send a bunch of messages. We have a conversation. You're like, send me the quote. Now you can have an estimate set up, right? Where I go, cool, well, my admin person, I go and type in a bunch of details and I just drag this from there to there. And now Emily should get, and if I go into her contact details and look at the conversations that we're having with Emily, because in my middle pane, I'm seeing all the interaction. There it is. I've sent the estimate right at 12:50, which is right now. It's done it twice because I've doubled up on that automation. And it's for the epoxy flooring company. It's the estimate. It's valued at 25 grand. She can click on view She goes to that link. She sees exactly what the value is for, and she can reject or accept. And if she clicks accept, and of course she can do this on a mobile device, she's accepting the quote. It turns into an invoice, and she can pay immediately. And in these cases, what they do is they say, well, if you accept the quotes where we don't have to do a measure, because we don't have to come out and we have to do it, right? We know that like this many square meters equals this much work equals, we're happy to do it. If you accept and pay a deposit online, or you pay the bulk of it online or whatever, they give discount, right? And so part of their whole sort of offer funnel strategy is, if we send you a quote and you accept online and you pay X deposit, you get 10% off, 20% off. We don't have to come and do a measure and quote. So I like to show that, in that we've not just shown conversations being automated, we've shown CRM, sales, and appointment scheduling all automated. And honestly, it takes little to no time to set that up. Probably, if you spend 4 hours, right, total, you'd have a really robust AI agent doing this work for you, where all the nuances around the questions you asked, how they respond, and everything like that is all handled. And there's a really cool button that you can click. So in my AI section, I've got this conversational AI here. And if I just go into, say, this is the one that was just running on autopilot, the Facebook leads replier. I just go into the details of this one. And if I scroll down to the bottom in the training, is it the goals? Where is it?
Yeah, it's the goals.
It says send an email if it doesn't know the answer, right? Which is kind of the fallback, right? So it's not going to guess. And like a lot of people try to like break it to see if it's AI. They say like, explain nuclear physics as if I'm a 4-year-old or whatever, right? And then they can tell it's AI or whatever. But we overcome that by imposing these boundaries, and we're like, no, like it's trained on what we know it's trained on. It answers the questions it knows the answer to because it's got the knowledge. If it doesn't know the answer, let's send an email to the person saying like, hey, your AI agent was talking to someone, a new lead. It didn't know how to quote the driveway that was, gravel and this material and I don't know, whatever, right? I don't work in that industry. But it's the exception management, right? Which is always the key to how much automation do you put in the business. Because if you automate too much, you don't find the exceptions, people get annoyed and they're like, dude, like, why don't you just put a human on this? Whereas if you automate the things where there's, mostly, human labor and human error are the two things you want to eliminate out of that process. And I don't have to remember now to create an opportunity in my pipeline and what the value is. I don't have to remember to follow up because all those tasks and everything were created for me. And I did give it the instruction to add a task when I sent you the quote. So now if I log in and I'm going to go to my dashboard and it's got all my cool metrics, please load fast.
Yeah, and Jamie's got a question about how do we train the AI, so we'll
I can come back to
touch
that
on
in a
that
minute.
too. Yeah.
If he wants to put his, he can put any website, if he wants to do his own, type it into the chat and we can get Dan to go and add that to a knowledge base whilst I'm running through the rest of this demo, and we can see how fast it goes as well. And that's just an example, right? You don't have to train it with website data. You can use kind of any data. So here's like an example dashboard, right? I've got all this sort of stuff going on in my business, and then I'm going to scroll down here and I'm going to have actually this is not the right dashboard. I'm going to use a default dashboard. And if I scroll down, I've got some tasks. And some of these tasks were to call back my new leads, and they were created every time I sent quotes to people that asked for them. And you can see here I've got a manual action and it's saying phone 1. So imagine like all the quotes that I send out, they need to be followed up. We're not going to automate it. Headset on, connect it to the system. I do this on Mondays and Fridays when I'm not out doing what I normally do. And this is the example of trades. And then I go to my manual actions and it tells me who I need to follow up on. So Mr. Cold, Mr. Corrigan, I put my headset on and then I just hit let's start, right? And it will literally start power dialing through my list of people. You can see it's dialing at the top. I've got my phone number connected. It wants to use my microphone. I say yes, no worries. I dial him. You can see the call's happening right now. I'm going to hang up. I don't know if you used your real number there, Dan, but just don't worry about that. Whatever happens on the call then, it's giving me a time limit here of about a minute to fill out what happened before it moves on to the next one in an automated way. Obviously, you can just hit pause and spend as much time doing this as you want. But I'm going to say, like, he didn't answer, right? Move on to the next one. And it just keeps doing that until you've got nobody left in the list. And that's how you can do your follow-ups in a really automated, nice way, whilst including the manual human touches that are sometimes required in these types of industries, of course. Okay.
Awesome. And Jamie's popped his website link in, so it's already fetching everything.
Yeah. So we have merch to give away too. So I don't know if you want to reset the wheel here,
yes, let me redo that.
We've got all high-level branded bits and pieces. We currently got some thongs and some Hawaiian shirts. I think the thongs are the thing that we're giving away today. If anybody's interested, we're going to spin the wheel and we can send them to you. If you don't want them, like, that's no problem. Like, but if you win it, you know, Emily will reach out and just say, well, where do we ship them to? If that's cool with you. So if you want to do that, that would be cool as well.
Yes. Let me just grab.
Do that, and
everyone.
Whilst you're doing that, let me just get from Dan. Just Dan, just let me know via Discord noise or a WhatsApp message once you've added that website into a training knowledge base, please, mate. Any other questions whilst I have some water here as well? We're coming up to time. We normally pause and have questions and we just sort of run over. So, you know, if you wanted specific things asked or whatever, we usually stay at least 30 minutes over our allotted time. Because we are getting to the point of on the hour, if you've got something you want me to answer right now, just pop it in the chat and I'll try and answer it as fast as possible as well.
Cool. And I've got the wheel ready, but I know there's still a handful of people on here that haven't filled in that survey, which is fine.
No worries.
It's no pressure, but
no one wants thongs as much as they want food.
Well, yes. I still just can't look at them and think of thongs. It's always just jandals. That's to bring that up every time.
Okay. We will all make fun of you every time.
I know.
That's like chili bin, isn't it? Chili bin? Is that what you call an esky?
Yeah, it's a chili bin.
I think that's so funny. I mean, it's like one of those things where it's like you call it what it literally is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Chili bin.
Like a wheelbarrow.
Chilled.
It's just a barrow with wheels on it. Yeah, chili bin is just a bin that's chilled.
Makes more sense.
Do we have any burning questions there, or am I good to just keep
going? There is just one from
Kamal.
For the estimates, is it generated based on the information provided and falls back to manual action if this fails?
I mean, that's a possibility. We didn't design it like that on that demo, but yeah, you could absolutely do that.
Yeah. Cool. I do have the wheel ready if we want to jump into that.
Yeah, let's do that.
Quickly, it's another chance. Hopefully, I think James is still on the call. Hopefully this time.
Oh, Eddie's British, for sure.
Cool. I will click share
from the United Kingdom.
Okay.
Or American. I think Americans call them flip-flops too.
Yeah, and actually, Ryan, how many of these are we giving away? Just one?
Nailed it, British. Look, do 3. How many people we got on there? 4. Oh, I feel bad.
5. Jamie.
Yay.
Cool. Okay, let's do that again. Oh.
We hear the claps.
Good tell. Awesome.
We've been missing out on these claps. You know.
I know. It's fun. Oh, James. Yay. Got it this time.
Awesome.
Awesome. Yeah, I'll reach out because obviously you're like Ryan says we need the jandals. Yes. Thanks, James.
I want to put a
Are you
policy in
originally a
that
Kiwi?
if you call them jandals, you're not allowed to have them. All right, cool. So yeah, if there's nothing burning, no worries. As we are at time though, I do just want to give respect to everybody who is going to stay on time. So if you want to talk, raise your hand now. We can bring you on the mic. Ask whatever questions you need. If you don't, I'm going to just finish off the demonstration. There's plenty of other things that we were going to sort of show. So yeah, raise your hand now. Forever hold your peace. Otherwise, we'll continue on. Cool. Okay, so we'll do 10 more minutes, and we'll just finish off this where I didn't. Oh, I can see I got a message here from my guy Dan. So in the AI agents section, it's covering a whole bunch of contexts and I suppose modalities, right? So choose the modality, chat based, voice based, those types of things. Shares a knowledge base. So the knowledge base is sort of a central store of knowledge. This is the one that we put on the webinar. And then what we did is we got Dan, the man, to pre-train using the web crawler. So if you wanted to add the source, you choose web crawler. You put in the URL, right? And it'll go out and crawl it. And when I share my screen, it like really struggles for some reason, which drives me absolutely up the wall. Just give that a second or two to load.
Yeah, and James is just saying he's new to high level. If where should he start? It's a great question.
Right, yeah.
I think I'll drop the
sign up to our link and we do. So instead of being
Yeah.
onboarded by their team out of India and the US, you get onboarded by Emily and I, and we can give you a lot of advice and education and training. It's kind of the deal going on. It's the best way to do it. Okay, so Diet Flex, so it's been trained, which means it will know information about that business. And if it's all good with you, who put this in, by the way?
That is Jamie's one.
Okay. So because this does get recorded and put on YouTube, I just want to make sure I do have permission to use this as an example. If you're still here.
He is. Yeah, he said that's fine.
Okay.
Thank you.
So if I've got that information, right, I can then go and create an agent, right? So I'm going to do, say, conversational. It could be voice, right? And in fact, voice is probably fun, right? More fun here. So I'm going to create an agent. I'm just going to do a custom one here. Hopefully this doesn't take too long. I'm going to call this Barry. And it was a Diet Flex, I think, right? And I'm going to choose an Australian person. We're going to grab not my voices. We're going to do Kate. I just need to search. She's not Russian. She's Australian. Let's save that one. Just make sure I got the right one.
Family moment.
Yep. And she's, and hi, you've reached Diet Flex. And let's go next. So then we put the knowledge base and like literally no other knowledge other than what it can find on the Diet Flex website. So I hope you got a good website because if there's very little information in there, obviously it's not going to have a lot to go
There's
from.
lots. It's good.
There's lots. There's a whole bunch of information that you can tell it to do, just like we did, like collect all this information, whether it's over voice or conversational, like the way we just did before. Choose a phone number, which I'm going to have to come back and do in a second. So let's just do that. We're just going to kill this one. Save. I can only assign one phone number to one agent. Go back to my list. Where's Barry? And give him a phone number that I can call. Now I've got a phone number. I can call him, right? So I'm just going to make sure he knows his name's Barry. They ask questions about the service and this and that and the other. And I might just put something fun in here, right? Which is, and this is like literally, you can prompt till the cows come home, right? Less is
Hmm.
more. Let it use its own reasoning. Um, I have no idea what Diet Flex does. I'm assuming it's something to do with health, right? Um,
Hmm.
you know, you like to make small talk about different diet fads and how bad they are. Um, mention on a rotation each time you speak to a lead about one you can think of whilst chatting, right? Just to show like simple prompts can have meaningful impact. So let me go back to my sharing here so I can share sound as well. And how did we enable this last time, Emily? We needed to make a setting change.
No, it should just be when you go to share and there's a
No, it's
tick
not.
box.
No, it's the same as last time. It was because you couldn't do multiple. There was a only one panelist can share at a time. Host only. Let's do that. Now I can share sound. That's good. We need to remember that next time.
Yeah.
Web call. Let's talk to Kate or Barry.
Hey, you have reached Diet Flex. How can I help you today?
Yeah, so had no idea what Dietflex does actually. Like, quite literally, do not actually have any idea what it does. Can you tell us what Dietflex does?
Diet Flex is all about helping people lose weight in a sustainable and healthy way by focusing on metabolic science and personalized coaching. Here's how it works. 1. Addressing hormonal imbalances. Many people struggle with weight loss because their
Okay, hang on, I'll
hormones,
stop you there.
especially insulin.
Stop. So I've got a
All right,
hormonal
no
imbalance.
worries.
Hang on, I've got a hormonal imbalance. Like, do you have products and services that I can buy to help with that?
Diet offers a personalized approach to help address hormonal imbalances, particularly those related to insulin, which can make weight loss challenging.
Okay, yeah, sounds good. What
Eating
else?
plans. DietFlex also provides weekly one on one coaching sessions to support you in making sustainable changes. These 15-minute Zoom or phone sessions focus on accountability, problem solving, and building lasting habits. The program is designed to help you discover your individual carbohydrate tolerance, ICT, which is the level of carbs your body can handle while efficiently burning fat and keeping hunger stable. It's not about supplements or blood tests, just a personalized, carbohydrate controlled eating plan tailored to your metabolism. Plus, they guide you on balancing dietary fats and proteins to support steady energy and satiety. Oh, and speaking of diets, have you ever heard of the cabbage soup diet? It's one
Cabbage
of those
soup
fads that
diet?
promises
No.
quick results but leaves you starving and miserable. Diet Flex is all about avoiding that kind of nonsense and focusing on real, sustainable results.
Okay, so there we go. Pretty cool, right? It's obviously just it's a lot more presentable when you put it in the context of voice, right? But then prompting on you probably wouldn't have heard maybe drone on as much, but being sort of more
Yes.
sort of. But in the context of chat versus conversational voice and all this sort of stuff, like barely no prompt, just trained on the data from the website. Make it seem more conversational by putting in something that's more human where you do talk about anecdotes, right? Because an AI by default kind of doesn't do that. And then
Hmm.
fine tuning over time, right? And so you would install it like this, and everything we saw in the conversations between my Facebook conversation can be rated. So if it answers a question wrong, you give it a thumbs down and you're giving it feedback. If it worded it wrong, you can actually click on this. It tells you how it came to that response. Basically, the history and the context that looked at before it decided what response to give. So there's a lot of controls and sort of moderation. And of course, those AI voice calls are recorded, transcribed, and you can use it for all the agentic stuff as well. So I think that's really cool. Out of the box, there's some really, really cool sort of AI based, functionality that across modalities.
Yeah, and Jamie was just asking if it can be programmed to make a booking, and yes, it's actually
Yeah.
incredibly easy to do that. You can choose the particular calendar, like just ask it to, ask relevant information because obviously it needs email, things like that. But the booking function is quite easy to set up.
Yeah, so just like we saw before with this booking happening here across chat, it can happen on voice as well.
Mm-hmm.
So it can be like, I've got Tuesday next week, I've got, 2 p.m. or 3 p.m. Which one do you want? And it'll just go ahead and do it. Actually, I need to go back to my sharing. All right. Why is that? That's not what I want to press. That's what I press here. Okay, so we've done the spin the wheel, the appointment reviews. So if anybody's still here and still enjoying it, we're going to move on to a different topic. We're going to sort of spend maybe 5-10 minutes more touching on a couple of other bits, which is, so we show the appointments, right? So where the appointment can go and the reminders go and all that sort of stuff. Part of that, though, is reviews, right? Which is, post-sale advocacy and referral has the added benefit of, and I keep forgetting to pick up the microphone, has the added benefit of increasing local SEO, right? It's because like the more reviews you have, the better Google sees you as something that should be listed when someone's searching for you, especially from a local point of view. So we've already sort of done the Q&A stuff. So that's right. I'm going to jump into that. I'll just touch on it real quick. So there's reputation management. So if we go down here and if we connect our Google business profile, go into the settings, we can connect it here. We can see like basically what this is doing is like it's trying to treat reputation, which is, reviews, as a system that you should introduce as a discipline into the company or into your business process, right? Where you always ask for reviews and you ask for those reviews and you respond to those reviews, whether they're positive, neutral, negative in terms of sentiment. But, if you do that, then you can see a trend line of like sentiment over time. Do you have a goal of how many invites you do ask for, right? Which you kind of should, right? Like, hey, I'm going to ask at least 5 customers this month to leave a review. So set that goal, see how you're tracking against that goal. Compare yourself against competitors, looking at a time frame, putting widgets and things on your website, being able to automate sending review requests. That's all there in the reputation side, which, there's entire businesses built on selling this one feature through HighLevel. But as a business owner, using this for yourself, especially if you serve a local audience, like people within 20-kilometer radius of a location or whatever, is super important. This also has an AI component so that if someone does leave a review, you can just tell your AI agent, go and respond to reviews that I get. And, like if you're a restaurant and they say the steak was underdone, you can just come back super objective and be like, we're really sorry that you weren't impressed. That's how the chef makes it. Why don't you come in and we'll give you a $100 voucher. And of course, you've got customers saying that that's how you respond to negative reviews is even better than responding to positive reviews. And sometimes it's better that you let an AI agent respond objectively, because if you own that restaurant, you might get emotional and go, you don't know how to have steak. Don't come back here ever again. There is a mobile app. So if you are super mobile, which a lot of people are, of course, heaps of functionality available on the mobile app, both from the Apple iOS version and the Google Play version. And there's a couple of different ways to get it, but essentially once you've logged into your account, go to the mobile app section and your links will be there. It's all stored out of the box under the brand Lead Connector. So just you can either search for Lead Connector or you can get those apps. But we would take you through that if Emily and I were onboarding you anyway. And of course the HighLevel team would be hopefully pointing that out to you as well if you don't go through us. The other really cool thing that I like and that is part of the functionality of our white label is the ability to run ads, right? So if you're struggling to get leads and you want more leads, the best thing you can do, especially if you don't have a lot of time, right, is to just run ads, right? Because they work and they don't have to cost stupid amounts of money. because over time they get cheaper and cheaper. So they might cost more to begin with in your first 1 or 2 weeks, but then after 2 or 3 weeks, especially something like Instagram or Facebook, you can reach your audience in a really cost-effective way. And if you've got a system like this responding to those leads, you're doing yourself the best possible service of generating new business and making sure that the business that you are generating is being dealt with and nurtured and turned into revenue. And so we provide the ability to do that. So if we go to our, what do I want to do here? Under my marketing, I've got my ad manager. So I don't even need to know how to use Facebook ads, which is an absolute nightmare if you've ever used that.
Yeah.
I can just create a campaign, and like I've got a gym and I want to do an open weekend. I'll just say I'm going to choose a template from a list of ad templates. So I don't have to worry about the sizing, going to Canva, picking the right pixel dimensions, all of that horrible garbage that comes with doing that. I can just be like, yeah, I'm in this industry, choose the template and off you go. And I'll just sort of show you one that we've done previously so I can skip through a few of those steps. But once you've chosen the template, you give it, here's the headline, here's the copy, right? What's it doing? It's lead generation. So the same way that you would have registered for this webinar, some little piece of content comes up, you're interested in it, you leave your details, right? So then you've got them. You've got them because then you can have a conversation with them. Could be on SMS, could be WhatsApp, doesn't matter. So you set that up and you say, all right, well, let's just say it's lead generation. The ad looks like whatever it looks like. It's just our logo over there, text, things like that. And the cool thing about this is that when you're doing it here is that you can just be like, all right, I'm just going to do $20 a day, right? And I am a gym, so I service, X location within this kilometer radius. So it's literally just choosing the geography, right? And then the audience, because you can say people that are in fitness, health, or whatever. That's about all the targeting you would need to give. If you were doing like a dad bod, transformation 12-week body challenge or something like that, obviously you could then be like, men over 45, right? Who say they've got kids or whatever, dad bod challenge, people in this industry. There's no better targeting than that, right? And you just run that ad. Doesn't have to be $20. It could be $100. It could be $1,000, right? Not that I'd recommend $1,000. But just have something running rather than nothing running. And then, of course, what you do is you have those automations to respond to all the new leads because it doesn't matter if they come from Instagram. It doesn't matter if they come from Facebook. They will all be responded to and followed up with, and the pipeline will get created and everything is tickety-boo there. So, you can do this yourself. There's no problem doing it yourself with GoHighLevel. It is part of what we provide in our white label. So if you are sort of more inclined, I think I was reading some of the survey responses. There was a lot of like, can you just do this for me? Can you have it pre-configured? So if that's what you're if that's the school of thought that you're in, go down that road. It's probably cheaper in the long run. We'll help you get there. Otherwise, if you're sort of more like, I'm going to do this myself and you're capable or you feel like you got the tech savviness, then jump on, grab GoHighLevel and we can help you out. So at 20 past, I'm going to call the presentation closed, but we are going to pass to Q&A. Emily, anything that you want to call out from Q&A or anything like that, please let me know.
No, nothing else coming through yet, but feel free to jump in and thanks. There's quite a few of you still here, so thanks for hanging in there.
Yeah.
I know we always go a little bit over an hour, and I know we do the calendar invite for an hour and a half, so thanks for
I wonder how many
sticking
people are still literally looking at their screen right now.
Well, there might be a couple of people on here eating Uber Eats.
Yeah, that's right. I hope so. Yeah. So we run these. If you did have to pop out and look after the kids or do something, take the bins out or whatever it might be, right? We run these currently every week. Normally Friday lunchtime. The only reason it won't be Friday next week is because we've changed it to Thursday. But we will try to remind you that they're upcoming. Now that you've already attended one, we promise not to harass you too much. But if you did answer the survey, we will follow up with you and try and help you out. Of course, at any time, you can just say, please stop chasing me, and we will leave you alone. Thanks to everybody. Kamal, James. Who have we got here left? Phil. I didn't see Phil join. Jamie, James. Thanks very much, Eddie, Dan, and everybody else. We appreciate your time. Have a great weekend when you get there. And bye for now.
Thanks, everyone. Oh,
Oh,
Jamie will. That was lucky. Just got in. I'll send you a message.
yeah. Thank you guys. See you later.
Thanks,
Have a great
everyone.
weekend. Bye for now.
Bye.